Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And then good morning all the students. I'd like to say thank you so much for attending this class for this morning. And then we will continue our discussion or our materials goes to the history of the law of the sea. And then to make it well organized, my presentation or my lecture this morning, I would like to separate it into issues. The first issue I'd like to talk about the history of the law of the sea before the Djuanda Declaration in 1957, and the second issue will discussion about after the Djuanda Declaration in 1957. If we see in some references and then legal materials that you can access and then you can read, it is clear that talking about the history of the law of the sea before the Djuanda Declaration in 1957, it will be started from the what we call Ordonance in 1939. Or in Dutch, we say that territoriale zien on Maritime kringen ordonantie. There are some idea coming for the ordonance, and then the most important things that you have to see, the ordonance stated clear that Indonesia has majority its territory goes to the sea. So it means the idea to optimize the benefits that we can get from the sea, that it has to be, it has to be maximized for the Indonesia. However, at the same time also there are some problems coming from the how to optimize or to explore more of the sea goes to the ordonance, because we have to see Indonesia is coming, has a lot of or some island, so it means that we have to connect between one island to another island. And then when we talk about the connection between one island to another island, so it means this that we talk about Indonesian territory itself in as a unit. And then this is one of the consideration of the Djuanda. As we all already know, then Djuanda is the former Prime Minister of Indonesia. And then when he declared about the Djuanda Declaration in 1957, the idea coming from Djuanda is the idea, what the idea comes from the Ordonance in 1939. So when we see the Ordonance try to emphasize and giving some strong point to the sea as the part of the Indonesian territory. This is one the reason why Djuanda declared to see that sea itself is one of the it's one of the united from the Indonesian territory itself. So it means when we talk about sea, in the sea one side, it means we see sea itself, including the land and then the space. So trying to optimize the sea itself. So it means this is the idea why the archipelagic state is coming from the Indonesian side. And then if we goes to the question, the next question, what the consequences after the declaration in 1957? There are some reasons to see how the consequences of the Djuanda Declaration. One thing that we announced to the public that Indonesia as one of the archipelagic states. The reason because of we have a lot of islands, and then try to connect all the islands in terms of the Indonesia. The second thing, the history show us when we talk about the archipelagic archipelago or archipelagic state, is not only talking about after Djuanda Declaration in 1957. long time ago, if we read more and then more some historical aspect, we'll see that how Indonesia is, or how Indonesia is the archipelago state itself. The second thing, the third thing I think is about learning, lesson learned coming from the Ordonansi in 1939 to show that if you would like to see Indonesia as Indonesia, so you have to thinking in complex area, not only thinking about sea in one side or land, and then of course the space itself. So how to optimize all the area, all the aspects as well as one as the one system who work in the area of the Indonesia itself. And then after thinking about and this discussion about the history of the law of the sea before the declaration Djuanda, and then the consequences coming from after Djuanda declared about Indonesia as an archipelago state. Of course, after the Djuanda Declaration in 1957, so we'll see that some area that should be thinking related the area of the idea of the jurisdiction. So when we discuss about jurisdiction in the area of the law of the sea, so it means that we thinking about sovereign rights. So it means that when we talk about the jurisdiction, so we'll see that there is sovereignty for the one countries and there is sovereign rights, and the two things that different. Then we can discuss later after I'm discussing about the history itself. But when we're talking about the jurisdiction, so we have to pay attention in the area of three aspects. The first aspect, what we call jurisdiction to prescribe, jurisdiction to enforce, and then jurisdiction to adjudicate. Why we have to thinking the three aspects of the jurisdiction in the area of the law of the sea itself? Because as we already discussed, there are some benefits coming from one state or one entity when they would like to, try to optimize the sea itself. Not only try to, take it some benefits coming from the sea, but the most important things, if there is a problem with the sea itself, so it means this the area enforcement. On when after finishing or dealing with the enforcement, of course we have to thinking about the adjudicate. So the third things about the jurisdiction would like to show us the complexity of the sea itself as the territorial as the territorial aspect itself. Okay, student, before we carry on to the next explanation, I would like to show you also when we're talking about the history, and then even we discussed before the Djuanda and then after the Djuanda Declaration, there are two things that you have to know. One thing is that what we call about the mare liberum, and then the second things are what we call about the mare clausum. The simple way to understand the mare liberum, you can say, according to Hugo Grotius, mare liberum is no ocean can be the property of a nation because it is impossible for any nation to take into possession by occupation. And then this is contrary to, what the John Selden would like to say about the mare clausum, because Selden emphasized about the clauses, so between freedom of the sea and then close the sea. I think that's all my explanation in the limited time to explain the clause, but everything related to my explanation, I already put in the Sekolah, so you can read carefully and then learning more about the history in detail in the Sekolah. And I would like also to suggest you, because this is the end of our lectures for today, So you can read some references and then some materials that I already put in the Sekolah itself. And then the assignment also I already put in the Sekolah. Of course, has connection to the what we call the learning semester plan I already gave to you last week. I think that's all. Thank you so much, and then see you for the next week.